And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We're talking about secret sex crimes tonight. The act of stealthing is back in the headlines, and that's when a man takes off a condom during sex without the partner's consent or that partner doesn't know. A man has been convicted for the offense. Prosecutors said it was essentially rape, but a court acquitted him of that charge because the encounter was consensual. We had a heated discussion in our own editorial meeting about the issue here on The Factor Uncensored. Let's get our guests on it tonight. We have Judge Mike Fields, attorney Simone Redwine, and social worker Joseph Hart. So glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored. So, Judge, when we talk about this instance of stealthing, where you go into a deal and you're having sex with someone, right, and all of a sudden you quietly take your condom off and don't tell that person, do you consider that rape? Do you consider that assault, negligent behavior? What?
I believe Texas law would consider it sexual assault because it's not a consensual act, and it's done either under coercion or with some sort of deceit. And any unwanted contact of a sexual nature that causes penetration of either the anus or the vagina, that's sexual assault. When I heard about it, I was blown away. And then to hear that somebody was convicted of in the Netherlands just recently, that's crazy. That's just crazy. California, I think, is the only state in the nation that has a law against it, but it's not a criminal law. It does, that specifically mentions it.
And how do they handle it? Civilly?
It's a civil statute. But here in Texas, I think it's covered under the umbrella. I think it would be covered under the umbrella of sexual assault, generally under Chapter 22 of the Penal Code. But there needs to be more definitive language about what it is.
And for those who are wondering, what's the difference between sexual assault and rape? I think in many people's mind, that's the same thing.
They are the same thing.
Okay.
They are the same thing. One is a more genteel way of saying the other.
And your thoughts on this situation, stealthy?
Absolutely. So my first thought was, if it happened to me, my brothers would beat your behind, right? First and foremost. But secondly, Texas law, it views children as blessings, understandably. And so as a result, there becomes a big issue, right, with who's to pay child support. Do you have to pay child support if you say, I want the father to then take care of this child? And currently, the law says that you have to pay child support to this person who has stealthed you. And that seems completely unreasonable. Absolutely. So.
And we've had people, you know, who have raped people. They get custody of the child.
Right.
And then the victim has to pay. It's a crazy world.
Right. So the first part is that, first of all, you should not have to pay child support, because the whole purpose of insisting and requiring of your partner that they use protection is, I don't want your diseases, whatever you might have. And secondly, I don't want the responsibility. But currently, American law doesn't even evaluate that. And so this case happened in the Netherlands, and in the Netherlands, they have their laws in place, but it's not consensual, because particularly if you're requiring that, it is because you're saying, I don't want a child with you, crazy person.
Now, is that the result of, we'll get back to that. Joseph, let's bring you into this. What kind of mental anguish, damage will this cause to a person if they go through a situation where they have, and we say an agreement, but you know, you say we're gonna do the thing, but then all of a sudden you change it and you take your condom off.
Well, and I think the long-term implications are huge, in that we find people who survive sexual assault have social and economic issues down the road. Children certainly complicate that. And I think what we need to understand is that consent is ongoing and it is freely given. And so when someone initially consents to an act, that does not mean that anything and everything is okay. And so when stealthing occurs, what can happen is really damaging not just the act and the relationship between the two. What became, or what started maybe as a simple meetup, becomes far more complicated because of the potential ramifications.
And Judge, we only have 30 seconds left. How specific do you have to be in this agreement when it comes to this consensual sex? I mean, if you say, okay, we agree to have sex, but then you take it off, but we didn't say specifically, I wasn't going to take it off, but it's understood. Your thoughts, really quick.
It's only understood if you say it. So say it. We're using a condom, period.
Or we're not doing the act.
It's
That's it.
simple.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Thank you guys for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. Crazy situation we discussed.